The one thing I have really enjoyed about Tony Khan, it's the one thing I feel like Tony Khan has done really well with, not perfect, but very well, is the ability to listen to feedback and act on it. And today we have a couple news stories specifically where Tony Khan has listened to feedback and has had some really good decisions come from it. And big improvements have come from these decisions. So ultimately, we're talking about it just for the sake of keeping you guys updated, since we have been keeping you updated along the way. People have been wondering about MJF and his situation. So just a quick mention of it. PW Insider did report that MJF was spotted at LAX this afternoon. It was also reported that he had a meeting set with Tony Khan. We don't know exactly his whole situation in terms of being, taken off TV. Obviously, he was written off television. But Los Angeles, LAX, it's the home of AEW Dynamite. I'm not saying he's going to be on AEW Dynamite, but for those who think that maybe he took his ball, went back home to New Jersey or something like that, that doesn't appear to be the case. So nonetheless, I just want to kind of get that out of the way as a quick update. So Joey Janela was very outspoken about communication issues with AEW. And he actually spoke about this a little bit more in depth on Chris Van Vliet's Insight podcast, which, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of Chris Van Vliet. I think he does a fantastic job with everything he's done. And basically, he talked about kind of like his not re-signing with the company. And specifically, he said that he heard Tony Khan was hot about it because he made some comments about AEW going radio silent. He also said it made him look bad and it made their talent relations look bad. At the same time, it made them improve their communications with talent within the 2-week period afterwards. I heard people were upset, but talent were hitting me up from the company saying, "You are 100% correct. You spoke up and that was cool to take that risk." Now, also keep in mind, Joey Janela did mention that he hasn't talked to Tony Khan since. But that was something that kind of irks him because they were cool. They were taking shots together, going out late at night. But he does believe that there's no bridges burned between him and AEW. He's friends with a lot of the talent, and he's still in contact. He also goes on to praise Tony Khan because he obviously has a very hard job. Now, here's the thing. When I see something like this, because I remember, Joey Janela made it very clear that AEW had some communication issues, and this has kind of been a common trend. And if you choose to ignore it, that's totally cool. That's up to you. You can ignore whatever you want to ignore. But the biggest complaint, I think, from talent or from people in general have been communication issues. Samoa Joe no-showing FanFest was not done on purpose. It was done because of communication issues. That's growing pains. It's a new company. That's going to happen. But the idea that Tony Khan can understand that and fix it is a really good thing. It's a really, really good thing for Tony Khan to say, hey, this is an issue. We need to fix it. Now, I can only relate my experience to the real world in which I've worked a real job. And the 2 large corporations that I worked for over the last 10 years of my life, at times communication could be an issue, whether it's on me, whether it's on them. Communication issues are not ones that you want to have when you are there to conduct business. That's like the issue that you want to ignore the least, because with good communication comes good results. If there is bad communication, typically there's bad results that come from it. And, in Tony Khan's case, him not communicating properly with Joey Janela, AEW's talent relations not communicating properly with Joey Janela, it probably felt sour for somebody who's dealing with contract stuff. So just kind of keep that in mind. The good news here is Tony Khan has acted on it. Whether or not he actually is bothered by those comments or not, it doesn't really matter. That's when you got to put your business pants on and act on it. And most importantly, that's when you got to let people know that you fixed it. You got to address those things because people are always going to think it's an issue. Obviously, it was really helpful for Joey Janela to be able to do that here, but that's why I'm bringing that up. So good on AEW. Also, another good thing for AEW, Tony Khan has made it very clear he is working his ass off to make people happy. And I appreciate that. I've been on record saying WWE and AEW have signs of greatness, but god dang it, they are not perfect. They are not great. They have signs of it. They show signs of it on their programming, but it's not consistent from A to Z. Nonetheless, Tony Khan had a lot of pressure put on himself lately because of the AEW video game. Fight Forever got a lot of flack from the community because of the roster size. And I know some people were trying to defend it, but you can't defend it. Your roster has over 150 people. To only put 50 people in the game, no DLC, it's not a good decision. And Tony Khan actually spoke with Andreas Hale, and he talked about this past weekend in Vegas, actually, at the Blue Wire Pod Studios. And he basically continued to confirm that a lot of new signings will be in the game. A lot of people, they're looking at expanding that roster. Basically, he's not going to get into detail in terms of a release date, but Tony Khan did mention that they will expand the roster through DLC additions, and people that have recently signed with the company are also going to be added to the game. So ultimately, this is a great move for AEW. I know there's a lot of people who think that Tony Khan and 50 wrestlers in a game is okay, and I understand there's a lot of people who will argue that till they're blue in the face. But you can't say my opinion is wrong when I genuinely believe that, a lot, and it's just true. I'm not saying anything that's not true here. A lot of people on AEW's roster come from WWE. We have had WWE video games for a very long time. The only way we were able to play with somebody like Kip Sabian or Sammy Guevara or Chris Statlander or Nyla Rose was if we went to Community Creations. And if we didn't go on Community Creations, then at that point in time, we can't play with them. So the idea that AEW was going to prioritize certain people over others, that's not right. And that's why I wasn't willing to argue this either. It's just 50 people is not a lot. You have a lot of people from WWE. I want to see some of the people that are originals. I want to see some of the people that, that are AEW talent. Obviously, you have to have a perfect balance, and I know that's hard. I get it. It's a business at the end of the day. What's going to sell? CM Punk or Kip Sabian, who hasn't been on TV in 9 months. But, the point is, you got to try to make it work as much as possible. Now, I'm not saying Kip Sabian's in the game, but what I'm saying is we are at a point right now with AEW where Tony Khan seems to understand that the roster is important to this game. And obviously, I'm not the only person that feels this way. A lot of people feel this way. So Tony Khan, trying to satisfy everybody, it appears that he's heard the feedback, and again, he's acted on it. I'm not saying Tony Khan is perfect. I'm not saying AEW is perfect. If you watch my live streams live on Twitch, link in the description, you would know 1000% I have had my criticisms of AEW's products, just like WWE. Especially if you watch my live shows, I really go into it with a criticism. But at the end of the day, there's a difference between a person who understands those criticisms and a person who understands they have criticisms but doesn't act on it, right? And Tony Khan is at least willing to act on it. Vince McMahon isn't always willing to act on it, and there is a problem there. And, hopefully this works out. I hope the game ends up being successful because I'm excited about it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below.